Arif had been different since childhood. Not because he couldn't speak or didn't like people, but because his mind never knew how to be quiet. While other kids ran around, laughed, and made noise, Arif often sat in a corner, watching. From the outside he looked calm, almost detached, but inside his head there was constant movement. Thoughts layered over thoughts. A single look from someone, one careless sentence, even a faint laugh could stay with him for days, replaying over and over. His mother used to say, "Stop thinking so much. You'll ruin your mind." But how could he explain that thinking wasn't something he chose? The more he tried to stop, the louder it became. Time passed. College came. Arif looked normal enough, average grades, a small circle, not much talking. People described him as quiet and simple. No one knew that every night, when the room went dark, he lay awake staring at the ceiling, arguing with his own thoughts. Old moments returned without permission. Small mistakes felt huge. Embarrassment refused to fade. His mind kept warning him about what he did wrong, what people might think of him, and what could go wrong tomorrow. The human mind is strange like that. It forgets 100 good moments but clings tightly to one painful memory, as if that's the only thing that matters. One afternoon in the college library, Arif picked up a book without much thought. The title caught his eye, The Psychology of the Mind, You Become What You Think. He opened it casually, but the very first line stopped him cold. Your mind can be your greatest ally, or your most dangerous enemy. It felt like someone had summed up his entire life in one sentence. He began reading every day. For the first time, he realized he wasn't alone. The book explained that the brain's job is to protect us, but sometimes it overdoes it, creating fear where none is needed. Not every thought is true, yet we believe them anyway. The story we repeat to ourselves slowly becomes who we think we are. Arif finally had a name for what he was going through. He wasn't broken. He wasn't weak. He was simply trapped in his mind's habits. One idea stayed with him more than any other. Don't fight your thoughts. Notice them. So he tried. When his mind said, "You're not good enough," Arif responded for the first time, "That's just a thought. Not a fact." His mind didn't like that. The fear grew louder at first. Doubt pushed back hard. But Arif didn't quit. He kept watching. Listening. Slowly, he began to understand that thoughts come and go, but he wasn't his thoughts. He was the one observing them. And something else became clear: he had spent his whole life running from his mind, when his mind was only trying, clumsily, to protect him. Fear wasn't an enemy. Fear was a signal that something mattered. Whenever anxiety rose now, instead of pushing it away, he asked quietly, "What are you trying to tell me?" Surprisingly, the moment he asked, the fear softened. He learned that being hard on himself was easy, but being kind to himself was the real challenge. So he started offering himself the same compassion he gave others without hesitation. One night, he dreamed he was back in his old school. The same hallways. The same classrooms. The same faces. In the past, he would have hidden or run. This time, he stayed. His heart was racing, but he didn't look away. When he woke up, he understood something deeply: fear doesn't weaken when you escape it, fear weakens when you face it. Later that semester, he had to give a presentation. Normally, he would have made an excuse. This time, he said yes. Standing in front of the class, his hands shook and his voice wasn't perfectly steady, but he spoke anyway. The words weren't perfect, but they were honest. When he sat down, the applause wasn't loud, but something inside him had cracked. Fear hadn't disappeared, but its grip had loosened. Gradually, Arif realized that life isn't about feeling good every single day. Sometimes, just continuing is enough. He made a quiet promise to his mind, not to treat it like an enemy, but like a partner. When fear showed up, he told himself, thanks for the warning, but I'll decide what to do. He learned that control doesn't mean suppressing emotions, it means guiding them. He stopped comparing his pace to others. Other people's destinations no longer made him doubt his own path. He understood that every person fights a different battle, and not every victory makes noise. Some wins happen silently, deep inside. Some days still felt heavy, but he no longer feared those days. He knew that a bad day doesn't mean a bad life, and a negative thought doesn't define a negative person. He forgave the child inside him who once tried so hard to please everyone and forgot himself in the process. He stopped demanding answers to every question. Some questions, he realized, are just signs of mental exhaustion. He learned that pausing isn't failure, and moving slowly isn't moving backward. People began saying, "You've changed." Arif smiled. Because the truth was, he hadn't changed, he had understood himself. One day, he closed the book and wrote on the first page, "I am not my thoughts. I am the one who can observe them." That night, he lay staring at the ceiling again. The thoughts were still there, but they no longer felt like noise. There was space now. Distance. Awareness. He finally understood that peace doesn't mean the absence of thoughts. Peace means staying steady even when thoughts exist. Looking at himself in the mirror, he didn't see a weak person. He saw someone who had fallen, struggled, gotten lost, and kept going. He no longer ran from fear, and he no longer drowned in it. He simply noticed it, and moved forward. And maybe that was real mental strength. Living fully, even with fear. That's where his true freedom began.